Hello, and happy 2024. This is my first video of the new year, and I'm bringing a project today that is incredibly late, but better late than never. I used some techniques and did some things that I'd like to share on these particular cards that I'd like to share with you guys. So back in November, I was participating in Kendra's card challenge number 12, where where Kendra provides basically, let's see, these templates, cutting templates. So there's six 6x6 sheets, and you cut them according to the templates, and you create 15 cards with these pieces. And November is also my mother's birthday month, and so I wanted to tailor these cards to her and give them to her for her birthday, and life happened and I was incredibly late. But I finished them, and she's going to get them later today, I hope. So I wanted to go ahead and share them with you because I thoroughly enjoyed them. So the theme is a little bit autumn. These are the papers that I had selected, or this is the papers from this particular collection. I found these in my stash, and I don't know who the original maker of this paper is. If you remember the name and who made these papers, I wish that you would tell me in the comments below because I would love to give them credit. It's gorgeous paper. But this is all I have left of that collection. I want to go ahead and share with you what I did. Card number 1. Here is the lovely sketch for card number 1. And what I love about these sketches is that she allows you to really use your own judgment as far as how you want to, your own style can come into play here as far as how you want to orient these. They don't have to be oriented the same way. You'll see in here that some of them I rotated so that they're landscape instead of portrait, and vice versa. So I did play around with them a little bit, and then others I didn't. But there's my corresponding card sketch number 1. I pulled in those nice fall colors. The other thing I love about this is anytime you see the black or the gray in here, that's an opportunity for you to bring in additional pattern paper or to kind of play with it how you want. So these are really loosely interpreted the way I kind of wanted. So there's sketch number 2, and I brought in this lovely dragonfly. You can see the dragonfly here in this pattern paper, and so I brought in this die with this lovely dragonfly. And then number 3, I did have a boo-boo here with number 3. These were difficult for me because I didn't have these particular size circles, so I had to kind of fudge it. But you'll notice here that the pattern paper should be on the outside on the bottom circles, and then on the very first layer of the top circles, and I flip-flopped mine. So this pattern should actually be on top, so then it's more visible, but I still went with it. I die cut this leaf. I did some gold paint splatter effect on the leaf, and then put this sentiment across the top of it. And when I did the paint splatters, you'll notice that that's a common theme through my cards. So to kind of try to bring it all together and make them kind of a little more cohesive, I did take a lot of the Tim Holtz Walnut Stain Distress ink and my little foam dauber, and I inked up the edges to kind of get rid of that white core so that they kind of all started to blend together. And then I did bring in the gold, seemed to be my highlight color. I use a lot of gold vellum and a lot of gold paper to use for my die cuts, so I kind of brought that in to incorporate it. So I used, let me see, this is Prima Watercolors Metallic Accents, and if you open it up here, I used this gold here. And just a trusty water bottle I think I got from Target. You just spray it in there. I used just this round brush here. You mix it together and then go ahead and splatter up whatever images or papers that you want to use. I know that they sell the boxes where you can use your splatter paints. I use this box. It's an old box that I got from ordering some photographs a long time ago. It is incredibly old, but I open it up and I use this box for all of my sprays and splatters, and you can see, look at all that deliciousness in there. Yep, I'm probably going to have to get a new one soon. I don't know how much longer that's going to last. It's been a while. But anyhow, you'll see that I use the splatters throughout. So sketch number 4, here is the paper, and this is one that I did change the orientation on. So instead of doing that landscape, I flipped it up and did it a different way here. And this was my interpretation of that. And instead of adding the 3 dots here, I added the 3 dots right down the center of that butterfly. I did this in a gold shimmer vellum here, and left it loose on the edges, so it just gives it a little dimension. I did pop it up for extra dimension, but then also just kind of left this. It just gives it kind of a light floaty feeling. And my mom is also a crafter, so I left a lot of these. I added sentiments to some, but then left a lot of them blank so that she could add her own sentiments if she wanted. Oh, and then this one, so card sketch number 5, I ended up taking this, and I did use an embossing folder to go ahead and add these leaves to this, because I just thought it needed a little something extra, because a lot of this is just very monochromatic, tone on tone. Here with these 2 papers, it just kind of blended together, and so I did emboss those just to add some texture to this card. But also, this was a different technique, so it's an oldie but a goodie, I guess. So back when I started paper crafting like 20 years ago, it was really popular to use rub-ons, and not necessarily for cards, but to use them on wood pieces to kind of embellish for like home decor and things like that. And basically you would just cut these out, you'd place them on your substrate, and then you would use a popsicle stick to kind of rub them into place. And so it's really come back into style, I guess, to kind of use these rub-ons. I've noticed that 49 and Market, and then also scrapbook.com has been providing rub-ons for a lot of their collections, and so these came with it. And of course they've been updated, they look great. And I used this rub-on here, and so what I did was I cut it out, and then I went ahead and applied it with the popsicle stick to the white cardstock, and then I used a circle die cut with some stitching to go ahead and cut that out, and then inked up the edges of that. So that is a rub-on, and how pretty is that? But that was kind of different. Like I said, not a new technique, but something that's really coming kind of back into fashion, and I had them and wanted to use them and thought that that was a perfect opportunity. All right, so card sketch number 6 is this one here. And then this was my interpretation of that card sketch. I made the little sentiment banners smaller, and then used this little guy here to add to it. I had selected this background paper, and it was very flat, and I wanted some more dimension on it. And so just like this card, I used the embossing folder to add the little leaves, but it still kind of just blended into the background. So what I did was I took my brayer. If you don't know what a brayer is, this is a brayer. And then I took some of that walnut stain, rolled it through the ink, and then rolled it across that embossing layer so that it would catch on everything that was up high on all the embossed parts of this paper. Now, I wasn't exactly thrilled with it. I think that I was a little heavy-handed. If I had gone a little bit lighter with the embossing and not applied so much ink, or maybe used a lighter shade of the Distress ink, I think I might have been happier with it. I still like it. It just turned out a little bit darker than I had anticipated, but I still went with it because I still enjoyed it. And this is a really good way to ink up your embossed papers when you have them, is to use that brayer. If you use the sponge with them, the sponge tends to get into everything, so it'll get into your debossed layers as well, and then you kind of lose that entire image that you're looking for. But the brayer, not applying any pressure, just lightly going over the top, will just catch all those embossed areas and really make those pop. So that was what I did there. And then I did also cut some vellum, and out of that gold shimmer vellum, I cut some more dragonflies and then added them so that it does also have a little bit of dimension here, a little bit something extra, a little something fun, like it has all the little wings underneath that. So that's the first 6 sketches. Let me move these aside, and then we'll go to the next 6. All right, so this is card sketch number 7. And here is my interpretation. And so I originally had not planned on adding any kind of flower embellishments here, but I got glue up here and I could not get it off. Even with the little rubber glue remover, I could not get that glue stain to come off. So I ended up making these little flowers to go on it, and I really like it. And then I inked up the edges so they were a little bit distressed looking, and then I also splattered them with the gold paint so that it all kind of just blended together. So that is card sketch number 7. And card sketch number 8 is this one. And so I do have a lot of this great, let me see if I've got just an extra piece here. It's just this really thin kind of a mulberry paper. It's definitely a handmade kind of mulberry type paper, but it's this brown, and I really liked it because it added some different texture and dimension to this collection, and so I used it. But again, when I cut it out for this background piece here, it just was kind of flat, so I used the gold splatters on it again to kind of bring it all together. This is cut from that same paper. I used the gold splatters on that leaf and then put the sentiment across it, but that is my interpretation of number 8. And I didn't add that little strip that goes across there. I just didn't feel like it added anything to the sketch when I was finished, so I just didn't add it. Okay, it's card sketch number 9. That is this sketch here, and here is my interpretation. So my mom loves sunflowers, and there were so many sunflowers in this collection that I decided to go ahead and use my sunflower die, and then I added some gems there. These are the little diamond dots to the center to make those pop up. And what you can't see, but what I wanted to add here is that this particular image, because I've already covered it up, all of this section here was brown. So the image kind of just skirted the edges. And when I had it flipped the other way, this paper covered the majority of it, and you really couldn't see the sunflowers at all. And all you got was kind of the brown tones up here. So this is actually upside down. And if this paper was, if these little add-ons were removed, you would see that it was upside down. But when I covered up some of those that kind of oriented the paper, some of those images, you can't tell now. And so now I've got a little bit of the brown poking out here, but you can also still see the beautiful sunflowers kind of up at the tops and edges of this. And it just, I think, added a lot more to that paper, or to the card overall. So don't be afraid to play with your papers and kind of move them around a little bit and see if it'll work for you, if you end up getting kind of a better image or better layout that way. And then card sketch number 10. This was my interpretation here. So basically you could use any paper that you wanted, and I went ahead and brought in this sheet instead of a solid sheet to go ahead and highlight that sunflower. There's sunflower paper down here. This kind of blends in, this little banner piece. It's got the leaves on it, but it blends in. And so I inked up the edges and then put the little dots on there for some interest, to kind of point out that there is a banner there. I left the rough edge on this paper that I put across here, and this is more of that handmade brown paper. I used a lot of that gold shimmer vellum in this because I just like the light look of that, just adding a little bit of shimmer to it without going overboard. And this one says hello. So let's see, card sketch number 11. Here is my interpretation. So I use these cute little pine cones, and I move the dots from the bottom to the top here. I used more of that brown paper, and I just love the overall color of this. The one mistake that I did make is that when I layer my papers, I like to use the Basil cardstock or the Park Lane premium cardstock because I like a texture. And the texture to me, it has kind of like a linen finish, and the texture to me just, it adds something when you're adding layers instead of it just being kind of a flat background piece. It just adds a little something, I think, to have that texture on those cards. Now, when I added this strip, I added it upside down, so I don't know if you can see, there's very little texture actually coming through, and this side compared to this side, it's a big difference. But I think that if you're just, you know, receiving the card, I think you'd still like it, and I don't think it's as noticeable if I hadn't pointed it out. I hope not anyway. You guys might have noticed it. And then card sketch number 12 here. And then this is my interpretation of that card sketch. So this is the paper that I was bringing in. So this collection of leaves that have kind of fallen there, and because the paper that I chose as a background wasn't a solid piece, and I chose another pattern paper from the collection, it was really very similar again. So I thought that this piece here that was really supposed to be highlighted might, you know, blend in. So these strips of paper that we were supposed to add to the sides, instead of adding strips of paper, I added these Love from Lizzie peel-offs. So this is what they look like. I get them from the Love from Lizzie store. She has a online store. I think her company is based out of the UK, and then she ships these peel-offs in all kinds of colors and variations. I think she's got some wavy ones, some dots, some stars. She has hearts. She has these pinstripe strips, and then strips with different sizes, the little peel-offs and all kinds of sizes. It's definitely worth a look. This shininess just really adds something, and I think it was perfect on this card. So I really like that bronze and the way that shine is there. And again, with the gold, I added the gold vellum, and then die cut the leaves, and then added some dots for more interest. Some diamond dots. I do like using the diamond dots. But if you're interested in these peel-offs, definitely go visit lovefromlizzie.com. All right. Put those aside. And then the final card sketches. So card sketch number 13 is here. And then this is my interpretation. So I didn't want to do another sunflower. I like the sunflower banner. I loved them. But I did have another die in my collection, my flower collection, that I guess it's probably a daisy, but I wanted to go ahead and put it together. When I cut this die though, so these little pieces here fit inside of this and they popped out, and I'd never seen that. So I had all these little extra borders here for this flower, and so I decided to go ahead and put them across the back of this just to add some more dimension, to add some kind of texture to it. It looks like all these flowers are kind of poking out. So like I said, these were just the cut borders that were left over from this particular die, which I cut in several colors, layered up, inked the edges, and then put them up on a foam tape to kind of make those pop. I added still that sunflower center that I had from another die, and then I added all the little gold dots to kind of make that pop. And these are Pink Fresh gold dots, these. So I used the Pink Fresh gold dots, and then I used these kind of a gold bronzy kind of a diamond dot. So those were the different ones that I used. And I really like this. I really like the way this turned out. I thought that was a lot of fun. And because I added all of this flower petals behind, I ended up not using the strip across the back of it. And then there is card sketch number 14. And then this is my interpretation. The circle is there. I just went ahead and added it underneath the sunflowers so that it kind of pokes through. And because I used the shimmer vellum there, I ended up using the gold center for this. And then I used that embossed stems layer again. And I don't know whether or not you can see the slight coloration. So I didn't want to go in with the brown again on this one with using that walnut stain and making it really dark like with this card. So what I did was I tried something that was a little bit more tonal. So I used my Distressed Oxide Rusty Hinge, and that's what it looks like. I mean, it's almost the exact same color. And when I went through, I kind of rolled it with the brayer over, so it's a little bit of a lighter because it puts an opaque kind of color on it, so you can still see it. And then I inked up the edges of that paper with the walnut stain. So that was just to add more dimension there. And then card sketch number 15. And here is my interpretation. So just did a lot of little fall things. Went ahead and stamped on this one. It says Hello Friend. I've got the little diamond dots on here. I popped up the acorns, used a lot of the same leaf dies that I had in other sketches to kind of bring it all together. So I wanted to just pull them together so you can see all the different cards as a collection. And I'm really happy with the way this collection turned out. I know my mom will like them. And like I said, some of them I added sentiments, others I didn't, like here, so that she could add her own sentiments or write whatever she wants in that card when she chooses to give it away. And this one's one of my favorites. But I really think that adding that touch of gold through everything and using the shimmer vellum and the little gold pieces, adding some splatters here and there. I really think it made this collection really cohesive, and I'm really proud of it. I wish that I had finished it in time to add to the contest, but I didn't, and that's okay. So again, the next one will be the Kendra's Card Challenge number 13, and I'll start that one soon and then bring that to you. Probably something wintry, I think, or Valentine's, one or the other. But I hope you enjoyed this. If there are any techniques or anything that you would like to get more information on in another video, please let me know. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate all of the new subscribers, and I'm looking forward to adding more videos in the coming year. See you soon.